I came to ask you about the cards, and I want you to hear about the cards. So maybe you tell me about the different cards and what's good about them.
Okay, I can
And
show
what
you.
is special about them in relation to other cards.
Okay, fine. Well, our cards have something very special. On the one side, we have pictures that artists drew, real people drew them. And on the other side, we have guiding questions. And the questions help you get into your feelings, your thoughts, your physical sensations, and let you think about how you behave. For instance, let's look at this card. During one session, I asked somebody to choose where they are today, choose a card that speaks to you, and somebody chose this card. A woman chose this card. And I asked her, how does this describe where you are today? And she said, everybody thinks that my mother is a very nice lady and a great mother, but actually she only does what looks nice. Here, this mother is hugging the child very, very strongly, but she's not even looking at the child. She doesn't really see. My mother never really saw me. All she did is she did things that looked nice on the outside, but she didn't really give me what I needed. This is what one woman told me. Another woman who has a child who's autistic told me, my son never looks at me. He doesn't really see me, and that's why I chose this card. Another card that people often choose is a card with sheep. Now, these sheep, of course, represent where you are in a family, or where you are in a place of work, or where you are in the classroom, where you are with people around you. Some people say, I am the black sheep. People don't like me, I don't belong to the group, I feel small, I feel I don't have any control. Other people choose this card, the big white sheep. I'm strong, I'm in control. Some people choose this sheep, which seems to be uninvolved, detached. I asked one man who's getting a divorce to choose how he feels about the divorce. And he chose this card. And he said, I feel like this little black sheep. My wife is taking away all my money. This is my wife. She's strong. She's taking everything. And then I asked him, well, who is this? And he said, these are the children. They're not even looking. They don't care. Some people have difficulty looking at cards, at people, and talking about themselves. So they prefer dolls. They can talk about their feelings in relation to the dolls. They don't like to talk about their feelings in relation to themselves. I asked one young man about his family, and could he find a card that represents his family? And he chose this card. This happened last week. I'm a psychotherapist and I work in a hospital. And there was one young man who was after a suicide attempt. And when I asked him to describe his family, he chose this card. And I asked him, where are you in this picture? And he said, this is me. I'm small. Nobody pays attention to me. Nobody really ever liked me in my family of origin. And once I heard my mother tell her sister that I was an unwanted baby, and she almost had a miscarriage or an abortion. She really didn't want me. And so he said, I feel today that I don't really have a place, and nobody really wants me. Also in our deck of cards, we have this card, which has no face. So people like to make a face. And when I ask them to put a face on this doll, some people make it happy, some make it sad. I ask them what it reminds them of. They can talk about what the figure says about herself, about others, about her future. They give the picture a name. Now this figure does not have hands and does not have a face. What does this tell you about the figure's life? Some people create their own life in their imagination and they project it onto this figure. These are projective cards. People project what they feel onto the cards.
I chose the pyramid for my reasons. What can you tell me about other people choosing this card?
So in the hospital, I once had a very nice looking woman who came in. She looked gorgeous, a beautiful figure. She looked self-confident. She looked fine, but she was depressed. And she came in with a file from the psychiatrist that she's getting antidepressants. And I asked her what the problem is, and she said, I am very, very unhappy. And I asked her, why do you think you're unhappy? And she said, I don't know. So I said, please choose a card that might represent why you think you are unhappy. And she chose this card. So I asked her, what in this card speaks to you? What in this card makes you think that it might have the answer? And she chose this figure. And she said, whenever I eat, I have inside me this thing. And he grows, and he grows, and he grows. And until I vomit, he grows. I don't know what to do. So I have to eat and vomit, eat and vomit. She was bulimic.
That's amazing.
And she never told anybody, and nobody ever knew. And she didn't look like she had an eating disorder. But then we could start working on her eating disorder.
Are these cards good also for children?
Yes, you can use them with children, but when I use them with children, I don't use the very negative cards. I take out the very negative ones. Some cards bring out more negative feelings, and some bring out, to a lesser level, negative feelings. There's another card that we didn't talk about that I just love. This card. It's amazing. Some people say it's a heart, and there are a lot of hands giving this heart. So then, of course, I ask them who gives to you. Other people choose this heart as a heart with lots of hands, and people are taking from them. Somebody always wants something from me. And then, of course, I ask them who in your life wants something from you, what do they want from you, and then the person gets into his real issues. There's another way of getting to the real issues. One of the hands here is a fist. And so I ask them to look at this fist, and who in your life could be a fist. And they get into the problems that way.